me just read this one poem because it captures such a rich understanding of the reason for being grateful, not for extraordinary events, but for everyday events. This is the trick. You win the lottery, how could you not be grateful? I mean, you really have to be far, far, other than a lot of people who succeed in an extraordinary way. You ask them, are you grateful for it? No, I deserve it, or that's the way life is. But to be grateful for simply getting through a day, that is the mark of an extraordinarily spiritual human being. There's one poet who I'm particularly fond of, and her name is Anne Sexton. And let me read her poem very quickly. There is joy in all, in the hair I brush each morning, in the cannon towel newly washed that I rub my body with each morning, in the chapel of eggs I cook each morning, in the outcry from the kettle that heats my coffee each morning, in the spoon and the chair that cry, hello there, Anne, each morning, in the Godhead of the table that I set my silver plate, cup upon each morning. All this is God. Right here in my pea greenhouse each morning. And I mean, we'll often forget to give thanks. To faint down by the kitchen table in a prayer of rejoicing as the holy birds at the kitchen window peck into their marriage of seeds. So while I think of it, let me paint a thank you on my palm for this, God. This laughter of the morning, lest it go unspoken. The joy that isn't shared, I've heard, dies young.
Rabbi, could I interrupt and just ask you, did she not commit suicide? Anne Sexton, did she not take her own life?
I think she did, yes.
Even with a poem like that?
That's right. I'm glad you raised that question. I've reached a point in my life where the last thing in the world I try to do is judge anyone. Not judge in a harsh way, but to be able to hold in my mind, maybe in my heart, witnessing someone who says something of great beauty that reflects a moment of gratefulness, because that's all I hope for. And then the next week to recognize that she couldn't hold on to this precious moment, and she surrendered to the despair that engulfed her, and she took her life. One does not negate the other. This is the reality of life. Don't expect necessarily continuity and consistency. Life doesn't work that way. What you can do is you cultivate, you work towards. And so I didn't talk to you, we don't have time. If you invite me back again, maybe I'll do this. But I'd love to come back because so far I'm really enjoying this. The whole notion of gratefulness and grief. What's the relationship between gratefulness and evil? And I have several chapters in my manuscript about that. I've thought a great deal about it. The gratefulness does not remove the evil. It does not erase evil. What it does is it gives us a perspective with which we can cope with it and transcend it. Now, it doesn't necessarily work. Even for a moment, to transcend despair is a gift. See? Because what is a moment? A moment could be an eternity, to quote Heschel. It is. And that's where gratefulness plays such a central role in terms of recognizing the eternity of the moment. So I'm glad you raised the question. It's a very, very vital question. And I hope that we'll be able to look beyond the tragedy of this life, and it's definitely a tragedy. But at the same time, as she struggled, she was blessed, graced with the moment of gratefulness that is indestructible, that's eternal.